June 1st. That's the real deadline. Carney and Trump are at an impasse, and the clock everyone is ignoring. Everyone's watching July 1st. CUSMA USMCA is a review date. The deadline's been on everybody's manufacturers' minds for months. But there's another date, a quieter date. One that matters what happens next, and that's on June 1st, next week. That's when the U.S. Trade Representative Greer reports to Congress on Washington's intentions in the CUSMA USMCA review. And the week before that's due, he's in Mexico, meeting with President Sheinbaum, the president of Mexico. So, cutting what sources say is close to a deal, but Canada isn't even in that room. Hi, I'm Jack Jackson, Manufacturers Daily. Let's get into it. A story was published on May 21st, a few days ago, that lays out exactly the way the things stand. Both sides, Canada and U.S., are waiting for the other to blink. One senior trade analyst described this as playing a game to show they're the stronger partner. Well, I've been in sales all my life, and that's in business. That's not a negotiation. That's actually a standoff, and it's not the best way to do things. But anyways, it is politics. You decide which side you're on. Trump is already frustrated before this week. He wasn't happy that Carney went to China and came back with a deal allowing 49,000 EVs into Canada. Some Republicans in Washington are now openly questioning whether Canada is serious about reaching a deal with their trade partners. On the Canadian side, Carney's position is clear. We need to progress on steel and aluminum tariffs before we can even progress on reviewing CUSMA and USMCA. In other words, I'm going to tell you that you need to drop all that or we're not talking to you. Well, right now, nobody's negotiating. Everybody's talking and telling. Here's why June 1st matters most. Than more than July 1st, because when Greer reports to Congress on June 1st, he will either signal that Canada is willing to negotiate, or he'll signal that Canada is a problem. That report shapes everything that follows into July. If he comes back from Mexico with a near deal and reports to Congress that Mexico is cooperative and Canada is not, Canada gets sidelined, possibly. Just like almost happened in 2008 when U.S.-Mexico signed a bilateral deal without Canada at the table. That scenario where U.S. and Mexico moved forward and Canada negotiates from a weakened position is now being discussed openly by trade analysts. What's that mean? Well, if you're a Canadian manufacturer shipping to the U.S., here's what this moment means to you. The window between now and June 1st is the last quiet period. Then everything's going to get loud. Everything's going to get more uncertain. Whatever documentation gaps exist between your CUSMA USMCA compliance, this is the time to close them. Not because July 1st is a hard deadline, but because political environment between now and July 1st is going to get so volatile and noisy. A compliant manufacturer with solid documentation in this same position, whatever the outcome, is much better positioned than an undocumented one that's exposed to whatever policy change brings, because, that can happen any second. I've lived it, just all of a sudden everything's fine, and then the next minute you're like, what happened today? What charges did I get? What tariff did I pay? So if you're all documented ahead of time, you don't have to worry about that. That's it, I guess, for the day. We're going to be back tomorrow. I'm Jack Jackson, Manufacturers Daily. Let's watch what June 1st, what Greer says, what's the signal. If this is useful, subscribe, share it with someone who ships across the border. I'll see you tomorrow.